In this episode, we talk about fight promotion. Welcome to the DO Boxing Show. I'm your host, Dameon Okposio. Thanks for tuning into this episode. In this episode, we're going to be talking about a fight promotion and what happens and what's involved in that. This kind of came to mind to me because of the events that happened on March the 24th in Toronto at the Metro Convention Center when Liveco put on an event. I believe it was promoted by Dennis Benoit. I don't know the promoter personally, but I do know that there's been a lot of shows in Ontario, and there are difficulties that all promoters go through. It's never a cool thing if a promoter promotes something that doesn't occur, but if the promoter makes all the steps, they also face a number of difficulties in trying to make a show happen. When a promoter's putting on a show, especially in Ontario, they have to have a promoter's license. They have to come up with a letter, some kind of confirmation that they have the venue in advance. They have to have a $1,700 per bout fee. They used to call it a knockout fee, but it's for medical. So if the person's from out of town or they have to go through a procedure or a test that OHIP doesn't cover, that $1,700 goes towards that. And then you have to have the fighters' purses, the officials' fees, the doctor's fees, and you have to have that in advance in a certified check to the Ontario Athletic Commission before the event goes on. So, it's very difficult for promoters in Ontario to not pay opponents because the commission takes care of that. It is likely that, sometimes a promoter may not have cash on hand, or they're waiting for money that comes in through the door to pay incidental stuff that is not covered by the commission, like ring rental and people that they have working for them, and numerous other small items. But as far as the fight and the fighters go, in Ontario, it's very strict, and it works in the favor of the actual fighters. As far as promoters go, I don't know all the details about the incident that took place. I just saw a lot of the negative comments on Facebook when it dealt with the promoter. And, I thought, oh man, there's not a lot of people that have a lot of compassion for somebody who's put their money on the line. A lot of times people think the promoters are making tons of money, but there's tons of risks that they have to go through as well in terms of, getting the money together for the actual fight and then promoting it and taking the chance. There's no guarantee that people are even going to be buying tickets to come out to the event. And then there's no guarantee that the expenses are going to be covered. It's very hard in Ontario and Canada to get sponsorship. And athletes will know that as a fact. It's very difficult. The companies here are not as, say, open to sponsorship as they would be in the United States. So it's not an easy task for a promoter to get things going. And athletes sometimes can also contribute to the difficulty of a promoter making a fight if they're not licensed on time. If they decide not to fight when it comes to fight time, they don't agree to certain things, or if they're asking for more money, or they get injured prior to actually fighting by maybe sparring too close to the actual event. So there's a lot of things to definitely take into consideration. I always think it's a good idea to try and hear from both sides. Maybe the promoters in speaking. I thought it was a good move, maybe a noble move. I don't know if he necessarily needed to do it, but providing full refunds to people that asked for it. He still did provide a fight show, or at least half of what was intended to occur. Boxing promotion. You're talking about promoting in a niche sport, and it's just building again back in the province of Ontario. So there's numerous factors that occur when people are promoting, and it's not an easy job, whether it's Liveco, United Promotions, or Global Legacy. You see a lot of the promoters, they have ideas that they're going to do numerous shows, and not all of those shows come off because there's so many variables when it comes to putting on a show, including the health of the fighters, which is the unpredictable thing. fight cards are always subject to change. That's something to keep in mind. And, my advice to people, and it's just my 2 cents. If you're going to go and pay to watch your fighter, just go and enjoy the whole fight card, because you might be surprised by another fighter on the card, and they might be very entertaining or very talented, and just take in the whole card. I always say that even in amateur fights, because a lot of times parents or friends will come and just to watch the athlete that they came to support, but stay for the whole card. That's where the full value of the entertainment is going to come in. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with the Liveco event. They had 2 successful events in Cornwall, promoting Tony Lewis out there prior to this event at the Metro Convention Center. So, hopefully they're able to rebound from this, and there's going to be hopefully more professional boxing shows still occurring in Ontario. Thanks for tuning into this episode. Remember, if you have any questions related to boxing, send us a message through Twitter at DOKPOSIO, through email at posio@hotmail, and don't forget to subscribe to get every episode of the DO Boxing Show. Thanks for tuning into this episode, and we'll catch you on the next one.